Hello, Miss Lisa. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Settling into spring, although in many parts of the country, of course, it's just a title. It's not really spring. How is it your way in southwestern Ontario there?
It's still crisp, but it's not snowing. We had so much snow this year that crisp is just fine. I don't mind it. Yeah.
Well, we've been so foggy and rainy, and I know a lot of people will say, well, Vancouver Island, what do you expect? But no, we're hitting record territory for rain in March this year.
Wow.
So, yay. On we go. And as Rob often reminds me, when it's fire season in the summer, you will wish for these days of rain. And that's when I say, yeah. But anyway.
Thanks, Mr. Happy. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, welcome to episode 119. And boy, did we get a lot of reaction last week from our discussion, sparked by Nancy's call to Gracefully and Frankly.com about an honor walk.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard from a pastor who told me how important it was from her point of view and from a pastoral point of view to do something like this. And it doesn't matter if the person is religious or an atheist or whatever, that they're human and they require this dignity. And it means a lot more to a lot of people than it would to someone like me.
I guess it's all up to the individual,
Yeah.
much like religion and spirituality and whatever kind of rituals we put around someone's passing. Hey, speaking of, kind of a clunky segue, but last Monday was Lauren's 34th birthday, so Rob and I went and gave blood.
Yeah, what a wonderful way to mark the day. And something to have your mind on, too, right? I think it's something Lauren would be extremely proud of. But that's what her parents are like. That's what you guys have always been like.
Oh, well, we were so proud of raising a child who wanted to give back.
Yeah.
And I hope that parents are doing that. I was so delighted, Lisa, to see people younger than Rob and I who were there giving blood. And maybe it's because it was later in the day and so they had just gotten off work. But as I was sitting waiting for my appointment to just go through, is this your name? Is this? And the little finger prick part. Tell me why the finger prick part hurts more than a needle going into your arm. I don't get it.
I don't know.
It's the nerve endings.
Yeah.
Nerve endings, I guess. But it was her first time and she was probably about 35.
Cool.
Yeah, really cool. It was so good to see younger people giving blood and recognizing how important it is.
Well, you may or may not recall when I was really sick about a dozen years ago, I had to have transfusions. And I'm a taker, not a giver, because I am given to anemia and a couple of other things. So I'm not allowed to give blood. But on behalf of takers, I always thank people for doing it because what would have happened if I needed it and it wasn't there? The thought of somebody not having it when it could save their life is just unthinkable. So thank you on behalf of the takers for being a giver.
And it's so easy. I know everybody kind of thinks, oh my God, it's going to hurt and all of this stuff. They are so good and so wonderful and so kind. And it's a great experience. And there's chips and pretzels and juice boxes and cookies. Rob thought it was his birthday.
That's right. You get treats when you're done. It's wonderful.
And before, because you're supposed to have a salty snack and at least 500 milliliters of water.
Oh,
so there you go.
I didn't know that. It's changed a lot.
Yeah, it has. And if you want to find a blood donor clinic near you, go to blood.ca. We were just lucky that it fell on Lauren's birthday. So win-win all the way around. Oh, and then there was rainbow cake afterward. We stopped off in one store. They didn't have any. And then the next store had 2 slices in a plastic container. It was like it was meant to be, Lisa.
Nice. Had your cake and ate it too.
I sure did. And by the way, is it just me or do you cut yourself almost every time you open a plastic clamshell package?
Oh, my goodness. Yes.
Thank you.
I also do it with a knife whenever I use a knife, but that's something else. But yeah, yes, those clamshells.
I'm not allowed. They're just meant to slice you.
Yeah.
Right now, I've got 2 cuts on my hand, and it's plastic, and it's going into wherever, whether it's recycled or not, we don't even know. But there has to be a better way.
Well, at least you get cake.
Exactly. It's like, oh, I cut my finger, but I've got cake. So I don't know if there's going to be celebrations. Well, I guess there will be for some people. 1 month tomorrow, the election. Wow.
Oh, elections in Ontario. We've had... Leave us alone.
Such election fatigue. Wow.
But you know what? I'm so glad I'm not in media right now.
Oh.
I remember when I made the decision to leave radio for good, because there was an election coming up, and I just said to my partner at the time, Ken, I cannot survive another election. I can't do it. Sitting there while people tell lies and complain about other people and do all these things that come up with elections and with posturing and with promoting yourself for a candidate. And I was just so glad to be out of it. As a regular person who's not in the media, you can sort of tune in and tune out how much you want.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. You're tuning in.
Oh, man, am I ever. Last Saturday, Rob and I went to our very first political meeting. In fact, two of the organizers were supposed to come over that day and have one of Rob's famous cappuccinos, meet the dogs, talk about how I could help out with the campaign. And then all of a sudden, the rumors start running hot and heavy that the election is about to be announced very soon. So they turned out to be busy. I went to the meeting for our local candidate, and it was astounding. I was so excited, Lisa. I would have donned armor and gone to the front for this guy, and I was ready to go.
Is he worth it? This is the thing. Is he a good guy? Do we like him?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Just a solid salt of the earth, quite literally. He was a farmer in Manitoba with his family farm and had to deal with cuts that Poiliev, who was overseen by Harper, dealt to farmers, and then got into a career where he converted things like concrete into energy. And it's all way above my head. So he's kind of in the weeds in terms of his intelligence and how he knows so many things, but he's also really kind of a person of the people. And honestly, if someone's going to beat Elizabeth May in a riding that is green but drifting away from that, then it has to be somebody who has a good message, and he's Team Carney all the way. So, okay, I guess I've given my political colors. If anybody hasn't guessed what we are or where we stand.
Right. But here's a question I have for you. Is anybody giving him grief about being a transplant to BC?
No, he's lived here for a long time.
Excellent.
Yes. And the thing is, so many farmers in our area, it's dark blue. They just vote conservative. But here's a guy who actually fought for farmers and stuff as a farmer, so he knows what he's up against. And look,
good.
We will never be here over the next 4 weeks to try and change your mind about anybody or anything, right? We're not going to do that. We wouldn't do it in radio, and we're not going to do it on our podcast. We promise, right?
No. In fact, I live between a hard right conservative and a MAGA. And I get along with everybody because I just will not go there because there's no point.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just not, this is your philosophy. Plus, I'm outnumbered here.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. I'm definitely not the majority, and I'm not going to argue with anybody or tell them they should do something or shouldn't. It's just a fool's game as far as I'm concerned. But hey, that's what social media is for.
Yeah, right. Take a different name and then just do all you want, which we don't do. We don't have fake or Finsta or anything like that. But here's a question for you, and I'm doing this for the first time in my life. Would you put a sign on your lawn, knowing who your neighbors are, Lisa?
Yeah, and that doesn't bother me. I know I'd be sort of a lone wolf. You know, it's something I've never done.
Me neither.
It makes me feel a little queasy. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't gotten down to that. Nobody's asked me to. Are you going to?
I have a house that's been for sale for 10 months. What else is it good for right now, Lisa?
Oh, yeah.
I can put up the equivalent of a fence around the house with signs. And you know what? I'm going to, because we're right on a corner. So there are going to be signs that you can see from space. And I know that our neighbor across the street, he spends half his time in Alberta. He works in the oil industry. I know he's not going to like backing out his pickup truck and seeing our signs. But you know what? I don't care. I don't have to be his neighbor anymore.
That's right. And you're not there every day. So to heck with it, right? It's all good.
So here's a question I have for you out of all this. This candidate's name is David Beckham.
Oh.
David Beckham. Yeah.
Okay, I just flushed. Okay, yeah.
I know, me too. And
Yes.
I've met David Beckham. I was a complete idiot.
I know, and I was supposed to be there. Not that I've gotten over it or anything.
Did I ever tell you the time I was supposed to sing an anthem the day that Colin Farrell was going to be throwing out the first pitch?
No.
And I didn't bother? I couldn't have been bothered. I know. I just said, let somebody else do it. Anyway, yeah, that's why we were on the field when David Beckham was at a Blue Jays game. And like an idiot, I said, welcome to Toronto. Like, what would you say if you met David Beckham?
I got the pretty underwear. Yeah.
You guys could talk tattoos, maybe compare them a little bit, you know?
Yes, I would have to unzip a zipper for that, but with David Beckham, I think I just might be willing.
His or yours?
Mine.
Oh, okay. So this guy's name is David Beckham, but he doesn't want to lean in or bend to the name similarity.
And I think that's wise.
Do you?
Yes.
Okay. You tell me why, and I'll tell you why you're wrong.
Okay. It's just too pop culture-y. It's too flip. It's too light. And there's so many heavy things going on right now in politics, in the country, and everything else that it's just not the time for it. You know, I'll give you an example. When Paul Cook and I were together as a team on 680, we did a bunch of goofy photos with me with curlers in my hair.
Yeah.
And the idea was that I was getting up so late because I wasn't used to getting up in the morning, which I was. So I still had curlers in my hair. But then the Iraq War broke out. And they ditched those photos because the time didn't feel right. And I think playing into the David Beckham aspect of the name isn't right for the tone of the time. That's where I sit. Why am I wrong?
No, shoot. Why do you do this? Why do you make so damn much sense? Lisa, we are never going to disagree on anything if you keep this up. You know what it is? I think that when you're brand new to a race, in a riding that has such a stalwart MP, as we do with Elizabeth May, who has done a really good job, or at least, you know, she's one of the tall trees in the Green Party. But right now, I feel like we need a forest, not a tall tree. When you are up against such name recognition as, say, Elizabeth May, you need to stand out. His name stands out. And you know that as a morning show, not you because you were news, we would have said, oh my God, David Beckham's running. This ought to be good, blah, 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 blah. And you know that the radio people would have fun with it. And all of a sudden you're getting your name on the air for free.
However, I think it's already implied without having to point it out. You hear his name's David Beckham. Well, I know who David Beckham is, but he's not that David Beckham. I don't think it has to be pointed out and highlighted. It's already there. You hear his name and you know you're not going to forget it. I will never forget it just because you said it and I know who David Beckham is. Mm-hmm. That's where I stand on that. And don't get me wrong as well, we probably would have made some sort of a crack on the news station, but that's just us.
Yes, you are right. As a matter of fact, you are in line with the campaign. They agree with that. This is why I don't do anything except whatever I'm doing, which I think, and we'll get off elections right away. Lisa, you talked about dropping and running in terms of brochures for the provincial election, and I have great respect for that, as long as you don't fall on the way out and end up on somebody's door cam. But I'm actually going to knock on doors, and I've never in my life, never.
When did you grow a set of balls like that?
I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, I say I am, but right now I'm having a little bit of a hot flash even talking about it. So anyhow, there is so much at stake. If you've got kids or grandkids who are voting age, please make sure nobody listens to the polls and gets out there and has their voice heard. 1 month tomorrow.
Doing with not charging your phone constantly up to keeping it at 100%. You said you were going to try. How's it going?
Yeah. You came up with that story last week about why it's good not to have your phone on a hot charger, why it's good not to have your device always plugged in and up to 100. It's been hard for me because it's an impulse to just reach for the charger as soon as I sit down or lie down or whatever. But I'm getting down, and I was at, I think, as low as 37% one day in the past week. Yep. So
And you were awake and alert and everything? You weren't sleeping through it or anything?
I was shaking a little bit, not going to lie.
Well, good for you. That's major. That's huge. That's like a heroin addict cleaning up.
Yeah, a little bit. It is my addiction to have it to 100%. And I don't understand why our electric vehicle only wants to be at 80% either. That's between a man and his car. So I just kind of stay out of that. But yeah, and a lot of the time I'm spending on my phone lately is having to do with healthcare matters. Checking in on you, checking in on symptoms I'm having with my eyes and with flashes and floaters. Gee, it sounds like I'm walking around Central Park at night. Flashers and floaters. Oh my God, what's going on here? It's in our eyes. But yeah, you went through some stuff this week and, well, you tell the story.
Okay. Where to begin? I have an immune system thing, okay? It's nothing major like MS or anything like that, but it's a skin condition. And I thought that it was getting worse or something was happening with it. So I went to my doctor. As it turns out, I need stronger ointment for it. However, in talking to her about it, she said, well, why aren't we checking you once a year for this? Because you have a higher risk of skin cancer. And I said, I do? 7 years ago, I was diagnosed with this by a specialist. No one said higher risk of skin cancer. No one said check you once a year. Now, this doctor, I haven't had her for all those 7 years, and she looked back at my chart and said, that is the protocol. That's what we do. You should be coming in once a year just for that. That really ticked me off.
And this isn't some protocol that has just come into being in the last 2 or 3 years.
No, this is from the word go. So now I know I have a higher risk of skin cancer and that I have to come in once a year and make sure that it's not developing. So it's a darn good thing that I went in when I did and had her take a look at me. And now I'm going to go to a specialist again. But it's just one of those things where, okay, so my physicians changed and this fell through the cracks. So I was kind of ticked at that. And I know I have to be my own advocate. We both know you have to be your advocate and you have to push them. But who knew? I didn't know anything about this. So it was just a lucky break that I don't have skin cancer and I've gone in and found out. And now I know I'll go in once a year.
Yeah. That's so important. Just taking hormones, which I've been doing, and then last year I was getting some refilled and the pharmacist said, well, you're taking progesterone too, right? And I went, no. And he said, you've got to take progesterone with this. And in follow-up appointments, doctors have said, oh, good, you're taking the progesterone with the estrogen. And it's like, why did I not automatically get prescribed the two hand in hand? This is not medical advice, by the way. We are not doctors.
We are not doctors.
So talk with your physician if you have one or check in with whoever you use online.
This is something else that was really weird. I'm going to get my eye lenses replaced for a variety of reasons. I've got a cataract starting. Oh, who feels 90 now?
Isn't it fun? All this stuff at 60. You turn a corner and then it's like,
I know.
It's like one after another.
So I'm telling you about this, and the next day you have an emergency with your eyes.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, what the heck happened there?
Well, you see, I still don't know. But thank goodness for social media, because this is where we're finding out so many things. Like things in menopause that we didn't know other people shared. Lisa, it's like this big secret society of skulls and crossbones or whatever it's called, where we're in menopause and we find out if you don't have a group that you talk with, and again, thank goodness for social media, not X, but Threads, where you learn of other people. Like a few episodes ago, my ears are always itching. Well, that's a thing with menopause. Who knew and why? You know?
Right.
And someone said, well, here's the day I had. Started it with massive floaters in my eyes, which make it look like you're seeing flocks of geese or something all the time, or something running across the floor that isn't there. And then flashes. And that exact same day, I had the same thing, just lightning flashes in the periphery of my eye. Wow. So I had an eye exam set for 2 weeks later anyway, but I called and said, can you get me in? I'm having this. And because I've had some eye surgery in the past, I thought, okay, better get on this. So the eye doctor looked around and she didn't really see any good reason. She said, wow, that's a lot of floaters. But then I go on Threads and people are saying, oh, yeah, that's menopause. The vitreous gel behind your eye starts to come off and blah, blah, blah. And it's estrogen related. What? I don't know.
You know, it's so weird because a friend of ours had that happen and his retina had detached. And when I was in getting my consultation about getting my lenses replaced, my actual eye lenses, not glasses, they said if you get a flash like that, that's an emergency to call. And then suddenly you have it. And it's like, what in the world?
Yeah, scary.
Very.
The long and short of it is she just said not to worry about it. And I'm going to go look at a lens replacement thing too, same as you. So we may have something to talk about in terms of that and just exactly what it is. But there was, at about the same time as this, Lisa, I get an email from my family doctor. Yeah, don't want to brag, but I have one.
Oh.
And she said, hey, I can't believe it's been a couple of years. Come on in for your pap test. So I called the office, and it's only telling you to go online and book. So I go to the website for the office, and the only two options are phone call or video. And I thought, all right, doctor, if you want to do a pap test on video, this'll teach you. You won't unsee it. So I wrote her back and I said, okay, I booked it as a video appointment. You're going to have to figure this one out. And, the other option was the mail-in pap test, which I think sounds terrific, but situations like yours would fall through the cracks. There have to be eyeballs on the situation in order to assess something.
Yeah, it's not just getting a swab of cells. You have to have somebody actually looking at it. I feel sorry for your doctor.
You do.
I said to my doctor one time, I went in with something weird in a strange place, and I said, I'm so sorry you have to look at this. And she goes, you know what? After this many years, it may as well be an elbow. So I don't feel so bad.
That's what they say. That's what they say. I don't know. But it's my elbow, and I keep it covered up most of the time. Oh, jeez. Gives elbows up a whole different meaning, though, wouldn't you say?
Sure does. Hey, you know what I've got going on?
I can't even imagine after this conversation today, but do tell.
In my knees, absolutely nothing. I haven't got a wince or any pain at all. Now, I know Sierrasil works, but to have it work on you is just a whole different ballgame. I have nothing going on in either one of them. I'm just over the moon.
That is fantastic.
Isn't it?
And this was within the 2 weeks that they promised with Sierrasil Joint Formula 14. And you are super sensitive to drugs, it's minerals, it's all natural, and you take them as directed, which I know you do.
Yep.
And it guarantees you will feel a difference within 14 days or your money back. So I guess you're not getting your money back. That's great news.
It is great news. I'm really happy. I'm not feeling any different except for the lack of pain. So count me all in now on Sierrasil. And check out their website. Read about it. We have a code for you to get 14% off. It's GF at Sierra, SIERRASIL.com.
Well, that gives me so much relief because when you recommend something to a friend, whether it's a movie or a TV show, and oh my God, I was talking with everybody at the blood donor clinic about The Pit the other day. Did you bite the bullet, get a subscription for a month, and are you watching it?
I am watching it, and I might write a blog post about it. We won't be watching any more of it. But I understand why it's such a hit. I totally get it. It just makes me so anxious. It's so frantic.
Oh, yeah.
And it really ramps me up, and I don't enjoy that kind of entertainment. And Derek hates it. It's not for us, but I totally get it. I mad respect for the show.
Oh, it's amazing. At least to us it is. And you're right. It's so bloody exciting that the longest period in our week is waiting for the next episode of The Pit to drop. It's set in the basement of a Pittsburgh hospital, and it's where people are waiting to be taken care of and seen and emerge and all that kind of stuff. And I'm loving it, but you're right. It's not a show to kind of relax to at night. And anyone I've talked to in medical care says that it's just so real. And I don't think most of us are ready for that.
No, it is. It does look very real. It doesn't look manufactured, kind of like, although of course it is, but not like Grey's Anatomy or something.
Nobody's boinking in the exam room. It's so not Grey's Anatomy.
Nobody's got time for that. But I'm wondering if after the pit and the frantic pace of it, maybe that's the reason why the White Lotus Season 3 seems so sleepy to me. Because I can barely stand it. I want to go to the studio wherever it was mastered and start editing it so something happens.
Oh.
So I'm wondering if it's a reaction to the other. You know, it's funny. We're so lucky there's so many things out there because we have options, right?
We sure do. And that brings me to maybe another clunky segue, but a great time to tell you that it's spring. You know that you're getting rid of old stuff, and you have options when it comes to pillows. You can spend $10. And the reason to spend more, if you have it, is for quality, longevity, and what it's going to do for your skin and your neck and your sleep. And you know by now we're talking about Envy Pillow.
It's worth checking Envy Pillow's posts on Instagram and seeing the difference between somebody lying on a regular run-of-the-mill pillow and what the Envy Pillow does for your neck. You can see exactly the difference and why, if you have a neck problem like I have had, it's so much better for it. The support. I would check it out on Instagram, Facebook, any of the social media, or their website, envypillow.com, ENVY pillow.com.
Get 10% off anything you choose, whether it's a face cloth or an eye mask, or, of course, their selection of pillows, using the code GF at envypillow.com. We're so grateful to them because you get to listen for free just because we've got Envy Pillow and Sierra Sil, both of which we love and we use, and we wouldn't recommend them if we didn't. Okay. So we have a call from Jennifer this week, and this is so great because we love that you're going to gracefullyandfrankly.com, just pushing the little microphone icon and leaving your message, just like this.
Hi, Erin and Lisa. I love listening to the podcast and following you ladies on social media. Almost every week, the topics are things I might have talked about or wondered about. Have you ever said which one of you is Grace and who is Frankie? I'm dying to know. I think I have an idea, but I need you two to confirm. Love the podcast. Keep it coming. Best regards, Jennifer.
Oh, that's too funny. This is a conversation you and I have had more than once about who is which. And I think to us it's pretty clear, although I don't think I totally fit Frankly 100%. I think you're Frankly too, but you're definitely more gracefully than I am.
Yeah, I would be more Grace. I have such a girl crush on Jane Fonda. The clothes in that show, the way she's buttoned up tight, the way she can down a martini or six, which used to be me, loved nothing more. And just her whole take on life of keeping up appearances and all that sort of thing. But I would like to be Frankie. I'd love to be in the muumuus and the caftans like you and the artist like you.
I don't wear muumuus and caftans. I have one, and I wore it out once. I'm not into crystals, and I'm not, all that kind of stuff. But the Frankly part, I will literally say anything for a laugh. It's only recently that I've sort of put little filters on myself for certain things and thought, maybe that's not really the way we should go with that.
No, I agree. Like, I forget how to be out among people. At this campaign meeting last weekend, there was a woman who had a quote on her T-shirt, and I said, "Show me what's on your tits." And I couldn't believe I said that, but I was feeling like I was with my sisters or with you. And I thought about it later, and I emailed the woman who introduced us, and I said, I am so sorry. I was so high on adrenaline and feeling so good, and I completely lost my filters. By the way, it said the government has no place in the bedroom of the nation, which was a quote from Pierre Elliott Trudeau. But oh my God.
Well, how did she react when you said that?
Oh, she showed me, but I don't think she leaned in quite as much as you would have. Oh, God. Yeah, put the filters back on. Jeez.
Well, how many times have we been out somewhere and you'll say to me or I'll say to you, nobody gets us. Nobody gets us.
It's true. Happens all the time. But that's okay. Yes. We get us, you get us, and that's what's important. So thank you for being here with us another week. I think that we have kind of established that you and I are both sort of a mixture. We're fluid, Grace and Frankie, back and forth, and we are gracefully and frankly grateful that you're here with us for another week. So you've got something to say to us? Go ahead. Say it to our page.
gracefullyandfrankly.com. Send us a voice message. It comes right to us. If you stop and start anything, we'll edit it. We'll make you sound fabulous. And we so appreciate it. We love to share you in the show.
Absolutely. And while you're there, do some shopping. You were sending out some more pendants last week.
Yeah, and T-shirts and earrings. The earrings are very popular as well. There's a little boutique on the website, and you can check out what we have there, too.
Great selection of T-shirts in a rainbow of colors, all sizes, queen-ager stuff. So thanks again. It was fun.
Always. Best part of my week, my dear.
So it's time for me to go and put my filters back on, okay?
All right.
Okay. Talk to you next week.
Bye.